Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about scroll tracking. So actually, in a video that I published recently, I got a really nice comment from Nick, who is saying, "Hi Ronan, thank you so much for posting these tutorials. Very informative. So thank you for that, Nick. Will you be able to post a step-by-step guide on how to do a page person scroll, for example, with Tag Manager?" So first of all, I would like to thank once more Nick and Alvaro for their comments, and actually invite any other people which are watching my videos to not hesitate to post a comment and explain what you guys would like to have as a tutorial on Matomo Tag Manager, or let's say Matomo Analytics in general, and I will do my best in order to help here. Actually, today we're going to talk then about how to do scroll tracking with Matomo Tag Manager. So actually, the developers of Matomo Tag Manager made it very easy. So you're going to see that in a couple of seconds you will be able to track the scroll without any effort. And just about let's say why we may be interested in tracking the scrolls. It's sometimes useful when you have a website with a lot of content and you would like to know if people are just, let's say, reading your content. So basically, by default, Matomo is tracking the page view, is tracking the fact that people are interacting with some links, such as download files, such as a link on external website, that kind of thing, but let's say not that much with the default tracking code, which means that you may have, and that's the case for, let's say, the website which are brand new, actually, a very high bounce rate. So in order to reduce this bounce rate, sometimes there is two possibilities. The one which is about to fire some event, some tracking code based on the time which is spent by the user on the website. Actually, that's an old method that we used to have when we were using Google Analytics. And then you fire an event when a specific time is spent. Actually, Matomo is not working with. I mean, you can do it with Matomo, but normally you will use actually this specific feature, which is called the enable heartbeat timer, which allows actually to calculate with more precision actually the real time spent by a given user on the website without firing an event, because that's true that actually it's not because he spent a specific time on a page that actually an event should be triggered. So just let you know that if you are more looking for information about how much time does your user really spend on your web pages, and have a more precise idea of how much time they are spending on your website, you are mainly looking for this feature in particular, and not the scroll tracking that we're going to show right now. So this is one thing actually, to measure more accurately the time spent by user on a given page. But you may also be interested in measuring the fact that someone is scrolling on your page, so which may mean that actually is reading your content, even if there's other possibilities to measure that. This is what we're going to see today. So this is something which is this is not a new technique. Okay, I'm not inventing anything. If you go on Simo Ava website, which is, let's say, one of the most let's say popular guy who made Google Tag Manager popular, you will see that he's developing here a full article about how to do scroll tracking. But in my case, I did not have the time to read through all of it, and I went straight away in Matomo Tag Manager in order to play with it and see actually how I can measure scroll within Matomo. And I think that was a good idea for me, because the scroll tracking in Matomo Tag Manager is a bit different than the one of Google Tag Manager. Not that much different, but a bit different anyway. Okay, so let's say that we want to measure the fact that someone is scrolling within my website. So here's my website. what I will do is I will create a tag. So, I mean, that's up to you to decide what you're gonna insert within this tag. But in my case, I'm gonna create a Matomo Analytics tag. I could decide to create a custom HTML tag, but just for this example, I'm gonna create a Matomo Analytics tag. This Matomo Analytics tag is going to have a configuration. So my configuration will be as follows. So I will leave it as it is. I could actually just click here the enable heartbeat timer feature, which is exactly the one that I just show you here in order to measure more accurately the time spent on a given page. But I'm not doing it. For this specific example, if you ask, actually, I could create a tutorial just in order to explain how to use the enable heartbeat timer feature. And here, instead of picking a page view, because I don't want page view to be triggered and to be sent to Matomo Analytics every time that a scroll is happening, I'm going to choose an event. Actually, I could choose a goal, but that will make no sense because it doesn't mean that actually someone read your content by the fact that they're scrolling. So I'm going to pick up an event. And in the case of the event, then I'm going to fill in here the information that I'm interested in. So let's say that's a scroll. Actually, I say event category. I'm gonna change more something like user interaction. User interaction. The action is a scroll, and here I'm just gonna say uh, that, and I'm gonna put here actually the percentage on which the let's say the user went to. So in terms of scrolling, I mean. So here I just click here on variables, and I'm gonna just pick up a pre-configured variable which is called scroll. So here, as you can see, there are some different pre-configured variable that you can pick that up. And in my case, I'm going to take the percentage because this is what Nick asked for. And I think that's the most usual. So here, they are going to tell you exactly how far the user scroll to in the vertical direction. Okay, so now I should have an event which should be sent to Matomo with the following information. So as a category, user interaction, scroll, depth, and that's a good thing because as you can see here, I previously set some tracking events and I want the name to be different in order to show you that it's working. So that's good that I changed them a little bit. Now I need to define when I want this event tag to be triggered. So I want it to be triggered when a scroll is appearing. And you will see that this is where all the magic is going to happen. So this is a scroll reach. And as you can see, it's not saying scroll. And I think that's the whole point of it, right? It's saying scroll reach, which means that it's going to be fired when a specific threshold will be reached. So I'm gonna say so by default they give you a 50%, which I think is the good way to do because you want to know that they scroll enough, but I mean the fact that they read it entirely, or I don't know if you have a big footer or something like this, it may make no sense to put 100%. But just for this example, I'm just gonna put 60%. The reason why I'm putting here 60% is I want to change a bit the variable with which I played before in order to avoid a different use cases. That's just for me. And you do not need actually to do that. You can just filter and give more precision. But in my case, is whatever page, whatever the situation, every time that you scroll and go beyond the 60%, then you're gonna fire it. Okay, so now the trigger is defined. Everything is set. So I just need to create the tag. Actually, the tag, as you can see, is not well named. So I should basically more say Matomo scroll event, something like this, because I mean that's not a good practice to always leave the name as it was. So that's it. Actually, that's it. So here it's a test version, so I could decide to publish it straight away. Doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna say scroll demo and let's publish it. Okay, so in the configuration that I define, if I go now on my website, so I'm just gonna use as well the preview debug mode because that's useful in order to show you what happened on the backend. Okay, so yep. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick this URL up. I'm just gonna refresh the page in order to show you that I'm not cheating or anything, and that it's gonna really be what has been published, which will be fired and showed here. Okay, so we are still on the 20, yes, and the last time I went on it was on 650, 660. Okay, so I go now here, and I'm just gonna say, hey, I want as well to have debug mode. So normally I should see the debug mode. Okay, that's great. So far what's happening? Nothing. As you can see, so far no tag has been executed, even if I have, what do I have? Draft version. Okay, okay. Triggers, and actually, yeah, it's kind of fun to not have the scroll fired yet. Did I published? Okay, I'm gonna look here and say, did I published? Publish. No, this is not what I, okay. Version. So let's see if I published scroll demo. It's on live version, and yeah, that should be good. Okay. So I don't know. Let's scroll then. So normally I should be on the right version, and if I scroll, I should see an event when I will reach the 60%. So let's go down. So as you can see, I'm not yet at 60%. 60% should be around here maybe. So let's go down. Let's go down. Whoa. Okay, so here it's probably the 60%, and it seems that actually now I have my event, which is fired. So that's the good news. Normally, I should now see my my event fired within Matomo. And so I can go here and just refresh the page and see if I'm lucky enough, and see if we have a new action which happened. So okay, so I'm definitely a lucky one today. So yeah, as you can see, one action has been fired: user interaction, scroll, and depths. And so it didn't show up 60%. I think it showed exactly where I scrolled in a row, because when you scroll with your mouse, you go step by step. And of course, if you give like a big shot to your mouse, probably you can reach directly 80%, and then the scroll depth is measured as 80%. So this is how it works. So far, I just found out just one drawback that I didn't figure out how to fix it. So as you can see, it's measured as an action, and I'm not sure, at least so far, I didn't find any possibility to do it, to measure it as a non-interaction. So you have this possibility with Google Analytics, through Google Tag Manager, the possibility to measure a non-interaction hit, which means that actually an event, for example, in Google Analytics will not be measured as an interaction, and as it's not measured as an interaction, it will not decrease the bounce rate. In the case of Matomo, when you define an event, it seems that actually there's no option in order for it to not be considered as a non-interaction. As a result, every scroll which is made is considered as an interaction. So this visit will result in a no bounce. So the bounce rate will be equal to 0% for this visit. In most of the cases, it will fit exactly your needs, but I'm thinking about maybe the few cases in which the Matomo user wouldn't want actually to be considered as a bounce, because I mean, for them it's just a tiny interaction and it doesn't show that actually the user um, really interact with the page. So that's the drawback that I found about it. What I found so far, which I think it's great as well, is maybe I was wrong, but it seems that when you scroll back again, so for example, I'm gonna scroll something like, uh, let's see, let's do it something like 5 or 6 times. It seems that actually the events are not added to it, which is to me a very good thing, because it means that it's fire only once. And that's great, because this is something that you wouldn't want to see within Matomo, something like events equal 10 just for a given page because someone played a lot with the page. But on the other side, it may as well be a drawback if, for example, you want to know if people are struggling in order to find the information that they are looking for. Um, yeah, that's the thing. Also, I ask myself, because in typically here in the example that you can find with Simoava for Google Tag Manager, they are talking about different threshold like 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. So I'm gonna explain that in a second. I'm just gonna refresh in order to show you that no extra interactions have been added to the queue. So yeah, as you can see, it's always measured as one. But how can we get like a 25%, 50%, 75%? It seems that in Google Tag Manager, you can add like this the different threshold, one after the other. In the case of Matomo, it seems that it's not possible. So is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. It really depends of your use. But here is a workaround that I was thinking about. You could just think about creating another tag, which will be, let's say, Matomo, and we're going to say deep scroll. Okay, deep scroll. So it's the same configuration. It's going to just be one event, and the event will be, yeah, the scroll interaction. And now the action was, I don't remember already, scroll. So scroll, and then event name, we say that was depth. And yeah, I'm going to use the same again, even in my case, I'm going to put 100%. So, yes, okay, I'm going to do it like this. And here, I'm going to create another trigger, and then this trigger is going to be 100%. Scroll reach, and if it reach the bottom of the page, I'm going to say scroll reach, and we say, okay. So let's create this trigger. And let's create the new tag. Okay, so let's publish it. And I'm going to just say to scrolls. And let's see if in this configuration, we're going to have Matomo firing twice according to the different threshold. I do not see any reason why it should not work, but we never know. Okay, so same situation. Now, so I'm going to move this again, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So let's go to 60, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so one is executed, and then I'm going to go to 100%. Oh, the second one is executed, and if I go again up, and if I go down, okay, so it seems that actually everything is working fine, and that's the way you can add the different threshold as here. So you need to create like 4 different tags if you want to measure if it's 25%, 50, 75, and 100%. And let's refresh, and normally we should see now 3 actions, which are the different threshold I went through. Okay, so this is interesting. Oh, yeah, actually the former one was here, and then it's 74, no, 64, and 100%. I really hope that you like this tutorial, that you're gonna play a lot with this new tag, that it will decrease significantly your bounce rate, that it will help you understand better if your users are scrolling in order to see the content within your page. I did not talk about it much, but this script may be highly useful for people which are relying on a single one-page website. That's very interesting. In addition to any extra tagging that you could insert on any links, because after all, it's not just about the scroll on the one page. It's also about the interaction that the people are gonna have, either by underlining some lines of text, either by clicking on some text, either by increasing the size of an image. I mean, there's a lot of things to measure in order to analyze, let's say, a reader with Matomo. I really hope that you like this tutorial, and do not hesitate to comment in order to say, okay, please, Ronan, could you please made a tutorial about this specific feature in Matomo, because I'm really looking for information about it. I really would like to know how you will do it physically with a backend of Matomo. Thanks for watching.